Hi, I'm Wiley.
And I'm Maddie.
And it shouldn't happen again. Okay, so we're back. My case this week is Gypsy Rose. This is another catch-up case. My song is Blank Space. Couldn't tell you why. The song of the week is Blank Space from Taylor Swift's Blank Space album.
Zodiac Killer Notes. It's never gonna get done. Oh, it is Blank Space from Taylor Swift's Blank Space album.
Yes. I don't remember why, do you? Oh, Band-Aids don't fix bullet holes. Because there was so much bad stuff going on in the house. They just tried to cover it up. But, yeah. Okay, so we're just getting into it. My case is Gypsy.
Wait, I just remembered something. Can I yap for a second?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just found this. It's like case for 3-7. It's Amanda Knox. The other day when I was trying to find, I don't know if I should. Actually, it's probably fine. It's public. So I was trying to find photos for our Instagram because I updated it. You know, I was doing a lot of work. Also, podcast now on YouTube.
Yeah.
This is not going to be posted 2 weeks from now, but it's fine. Podcast on YouTube. Where was I going? Oh, so I was finding photos for the Instagram, and I found real crime scene photos from the Amanda Knox.
But don't worry, they blurred out the body.
They blurred out the body, but it was yeah, you could still see everything. And then, yeah, it was really interesting.
She's a freak.
I was like, oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I want to talk about.
Okay. So, in 1967, in Chacovie, Louisiana, Claudine Petrie was born, also known as Dee Dee. She grew up with her parents and brothers, but she wasn't the most well-behaved child. She lied a lot and she stole. At 24, she gets pregnant from a 17-year-old high school student named Ron Blanchard. And then they have their baby. They got married out of necessity, and then 6 months later, Gypsy Rose Blanchard was born on July 27, 1991. They had separated right before Gypsy's birth, but Dee Dee took Gypsy to live with her family after not being able to rekindle with Rob. Rob didn't want Gypsy to be taken away, but he also didn't want to, be with Dee Dee because she was crazy. So Gypsy was reportedly a healthy baby. Dee Dee was convinced that there was something very wrong with Gypsy a few months in. This is a very popular case.
Very.
So you've definitely heard of it, obviously, because Gypsy Rose is a celebrity now. She began taking Gypsy to the emergency room and the hospital, claiming that she had sleep apnea. There was no sign of sleep apnea, but Dee Dee was convinced. She decided even if it wasn't sleep apnea, she had severe chromosome disorder. She became engrossed with watching Gypsy, thinking something terrible would happen. When Gypsy was around 8 years old, Dee Dee claims that Gypsy was unable to walk. She had recently suffered from a minor injury from falling off of her father's motorcycle and scraping her knee. So she literally just had a scraped knee. But she convinced doctors that Gypsy needed several surgeries to ever be able to walk again. Gypsy was put in a wheelchair, and around this time she began homeschooling. Dee Dee had also moved out of her parents' house at this point, and Dee Dee then started telling people about how Gypsy was suffering from leukemia and muscular dystrophy, and she needed a feeding tube. The list of medical problems included asthma, seizures, hearing and visual impairment, and more. Due to Dee Dee's convincing, the doctors prescribed Gypsy tons and tons of medications that she didn't need. She was also on a breathing machine and had multiple surgeries. She even had surgery on her eyes and surgery to remove her salivary glands. They constantly were hopping doctors, they were everywhere, because if someone doubted them, then they would move. Because Dee Dee was so convinced, and she convinced all these people. Eventually her teeth began to rot out and they were all pulled out, but she recently got veneers, so it's okay. Dee Dee ended up taking Gypsy to a hospital in New Orleans, and there they tested Gypsy for muscular dystrophy in 2001. The test came back negative, but they prescribed her anti-seizure medications due to the seizures Dee Dee claimed she was having. She was also given plain pain meds for her dystrophy, but Dee continued to tell the doctors about these illnesses, but they were like, she doesn't have it. But they still gave her, like, medicine. Dee fabricated all of Gypsy's medical record and claimed that the real records were not around because they were ruined in the flooding from Hurricane Katrina. A few doctors did not try and contest the claim. No, start that over. A few doctors tried to contest the claims, but only one, Bernardo Flatterstein, noted that he was not convinced that Gypsy suffered from any of the illnesses that Dee claimed. He noted that Dee probably had Munchausen proxy, and if anyone questioned, then they would just stop seeing the doctor, like I said. Dee would give Gypsy medication to make her mimic different disorders, but Dee seemed very charming and always seemed like a good mother to Gypsy, so no one really thought that much. She just seemed to want what was best for her daughter. She would instruct Gypsy to not give information about their appointments. She basically just told Gypsy to keep her mouth shut. Gypsy would sit there while her mother lied, and they were taken in by a special need care center, since their apartment was so damaged by the hurricane. They were suggested to move to Missouri, and in 2005 they moved, and they caught the media's attention. A few years later, Habitat for Humanity built Gypsy and Dee a house in Springfield, Missouri. They also had free trips to Disney, a free car with wheelchair access, and a bunch of free gifts from many foundations like Make-A-Wish. Occasionally, they were able to stay in the Ronald McDonald House, many backstage passes to Miranda Lambert concerts, and Dee just relished in the attention. She was loving it. To further trick people, Dee would regularly shave Gypsy's head to make people think she was going to chemo. She told Gypsy since the chemo would eventually take her hair out, it was easier to just shave it. When Gypsy became a teenager, Dee began lying about Gypsy's real age, and in 2009, an anonymous caller said to Gypsy that she may not be as sick as Dee claimed. A police officer then visited the house, and Dee said that there were inconsistencies in Gypsy's record because she was trying to leave her ex-husband, Rob, who she was afraid of, out of it all. The officer was able to realize that Gypsy was 18 instead of 14 in his official report, but nothing he didn't say anything in his report, right? So around this time, Gypsy began to suspect that she was not as sick as her mother said. She realized that she could walk as well. Finding out her true age was what spiraled her into investigation. One of the first red flags for Gypsy was finding her social security card with her real age on it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She told Gypsy she was born in 1995. She thought she was 15 when she was actually 19. Despite her efforts to rebel, Dee would use physical abuse to make Gypsy conform to her rules. And if she said anything wrong with the doctors, her mother would squeeze her hand very tightly. I saw in an interview or something with her and Ryan, her ex-husband, she squeezed his hand to make him stop saying something or yeah, yeah. At one point, the mother-daughter attended a sci-fi convention where Gypsy met an older man. They began communicating online. Gypsy ran away to the older man and went to his hotel room. The man was 35 and Gypsy was 19. Her mother didn't know that she could walk, so when she found Gypsy was gone, she was very confused. She then found where Gypsy was by going on her computer and brought paperwork up to the room where the guy was at and said that Gypsy was a minor, even though she wasn't. Freaking the guy out, Gypsy was forced to leave with Dee. Dee smashed the family computer that Gypsy was using to communicate with the man. Dee threatened to smash Gypsy's fingers with a hammer if she ever tried to do something like that again. Dee did purchase a new computer, but Gypsy was only allowed to use it with Dee's supervision. And despite that, Gypsy would sneak on while her mother was asleep and chat with men. She hoped that men would save her from her life like a Prince Charming. In 2012, Gypsy met Nicholas Godejohn, a 23-year-old man from Wisconsin. He had a criminal record for indecent exposure and suffered many mental illnesses. Nick introduced her to a lot of adult practices. He's often suggestive to Gypsy to pose provocatively, and one time even had her pose with knives. Nick also claimed to have multiple personalities. To please these personalities that Nick had created, Gypsy created different personalities to go with him. There was Kitty, who was a young scandalous girl, and there was Candy, who was an older, scandalous girl. Kitty was an innocent girl. In 2015, they arranged to meet. There was a movie premiere for the live-action Cinderella movie, and Gypsy dressed as Cinderella, and they went into the theater. Gypsy's plan was for him to bump into them. According to Nick, Gypsy had her... Oh, what? Hold on. We just jumped right into that one. Okay. According to Nick, Gypsy had met him in the ladies' room to have intercourse for the first time together before they met her mom. Dee Dee did not approve of their meeting or relationship. This greatly upset Gypsy. During this encounter, Dee Dee said Gypsy could never ever see Nick again, and Gypsy then conducted a plan for Nick to kill her mother so that she could escape her for good. Gypsy stole money for her mother to pay for Nick's transportation to Springfield, which is where they were. The plan was to wait until Dee Dee went to bed and then Nick would sneak in. She provided him with a knife and gloves. While Nick brutally attacked her mother, Gypsy hid in the bathroom and covered her ears. Nick stabbed Dee Dee 17 times in the back with a knife. After it was done, Gypsy and Nick had intercourse. And also he also had intercourse with her mother's dead body.
Good.
After after they were done, they took Dee Dee's money and went back to Nick's parents' house. This is 11 minutes long, and I'm in my last few notes.
Core 3.
Yeah. They took separate Greyhound buses to not look suspicious, and they mailed the murder weapon and gloves to Nick's house so they wouldn't have to travel with it, which is a stupid idea, but whatever. They thought that it would be smart to update Dee Dee's Facebook status to "That girl is dead." And they didn't say girl. Friends of Dee Dee's became very concerned when they saw that. They called the police and a warrant was obtained. Gypsy later explained that she wanted to make those posts so that someone would find her mother's body. And on June 14th, 2015, which is tomorrow, they discovered Dee Dee's body. They assumed that Gypsy had been kidnapped because she wasn't found at the scene, but all of her medical necessities were still at the house. Law enforcement were able to track the IP address on the Facebook back to Nick's home. He quickly surrendered, and soon after, Gypsy emerged from the house. She came out of the house walking, which shocked everyone, and Gypsy revealed that Dee Dee had been lying the whole time. Everyone who knew the mother-daughter duo was shocked. People began to question as to why she had gone so far to killing her mother when she could have done anything else to expose her. But she didn't think anyone would believe her, and she was terrified of her mother because of all the abuse that she had endured. The court spent about a month gathering all of Gypsy's medical records. She controlled Gypsy's medical decisions even after she turned 18.
Poor girl.
Yeah. When the judge gathered all of the records, he proposed a plea deal to the complexity of the situation. The medical records clearly show the abuse that Gypsy had endured throughout the years. In 2016, Gypsy pleaded guilty to the second degree of murder. She got a minimum of 10 years and became eligible for parole. She is 32 years old.
Oh my god.
And, and she got released December 28th. And she's been out, and she's literally, famous. But she really likes Taylor Swift, and I admire that.
I really like how she was like, yeah, that's the first thing I'm gonna do when I get out is meet Taylor Swift.
Me too, queen. And I like how she thinks Fresh Out the Slammer is about her. That should be the song for this week.
Yeah, we can change it.
Yeah, okay, I just changed my mind. The song for this week is Fresh Out the Slammer, because she thinks it's about her, and I support that.
I also think so.
But she got a divorce ever since she's been out of prison for, the last 6 months. She got a divorce. She got back with her ex-fiancé, Ken. She got matching tattoos with her ex-fiancé. She is on birth control. She's very adamant that people know she is on birth control. She had an internet feud with her ex-husband about their puppy. She had
She's so funny.
Interview go viral, where she said the D was fire. She, wow, she's lived a million lives, this girl. What else has she done?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
She's done a lot.
She has done a lot. She's released a book. She's released a Lifetime series. I think it's Lifetime. She is releasing music, isn't she?
I think she said she was going to release music.
Yeah, she said she's going to release music. Girl is doing it all.
She, kind of reminds me of Trisha Paytas.
Yeah, but, troubled version?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, okay, sorry, that's only 15 minutes worth of content, but we have big plans today.
We do have big plans, and I just got some good stuff.
Good. Okay, anyway, I'm Wiley.
And I'm Maddie.
And it shouldn't happen again.